Hi, friends. How are you doing today? I hope you're all having the day that you deserve. My name is Carly Ramsey, and this is the Serial Zodiac. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the Truro Murders. And just for some background context, the Truro Murders happened in Australia in 1978 in the city of Adelaide. But you also know that this is the serial zodiac. So our subject today is going to be James Miller, born on February 2nd, 1940. James is an Aquarius. Collecting mushrooms in bushland near Truro, South Australia, on the 25th of April in 1978, a man made a tragic discovery. Laying partially in the sand were the scattered remains of a young woman. It was the first body of many uncovered in the Truro murders. Warning: this week's episode contains graphic descriptions of crime scenes. Viewer discretion is advised. Police investigating the scene were definite that the woman had met foul play. She was identified as a teen named Veronica Knight. The case would remain open as no clues were found with the body to suggest a suspect at the time. Later in 1978, another young woman's body was found near the Murray Bridge, east of Adelaide. The body was skeletal and identification was difficult, but they were eventually identified as belonging to 20-year-old Maria Dickinson. She went missing 8 months earlier, and evidence showed that she had been shot through the head. The following March, the body of Linda Marciano, also 20, found at a rubbish tip in Adelaide. She had been abducted, severely bashed, and stabbed numerous times. Police were concerned that the last two murders were connected. All three women had been reported missing within a 2-month period. The police checked for other missing persons reports, and they were interested to find that many young women had been reported missing from December 1976 onward, including Veronica Knight. The pattern was too frightening to ignore. Young women had been abducted, and the police begun to investigate that the disappearance of 7 women may be the work of a serial killer. A profile was drawn up: a local man, sex offender, more than likely to have been released from jail just prior to the first abduction and may have returned since the last one. Police kept investigating the abductions and murders, trying not to raise suspicions of the killer. On Easter Sunday, 1979, the remains of Sylvia Pittman were discovered near Truro, a mere 2 kilometers from the site where Veronica Knight had been found a year earlier. Sylvia was on the list of missing girls, and soon the media got wind of the case, and the story was splashed across the country. Newspapers offered rewards of $10,000 to catch the killer, and the government increased its offered reward of $30,000. The reward offer brought some results. A man approached police to tell them that a friend of his had an unusual conversation with James Miller. Miller had told the woman that he and another man, Christopher Worrell, were responsible for the murders. The conversation had taken place on February 22nd, 1977, 2 days after Worrell had died in an automobile accident. This date was very significant to the police. It was 8 days after the last abduction. The woman who Miller had told the story to made a formal police statement. She told police that Miller and Worrell would often pick up gay men, go back to the man's house, and rob them, threatening to tell others they were gay. Then Miller went on to tell her that he and Chris would pick up girls and kill them. She questioned Miller further. He said that Chris was responsible for the actual murders, but he felt he was to blame because he couldn't stop him. Worrell would rape the women they had gotten and strangle them. Miller admitted he only drove the vehicle. Miller told the woman that he could take her to the place near Truro and show her the bodies if she didn't believe him. She thought he had said there had been about 6 victims and that the killings had increased just before Worrell had been killed. The woman decided not to tell the police Miller had said that Worrell was responsible and he was dead, so there wasn't anything that could be done anyway. Chris's profile fit the police's description perfectly. He had been jailed for rape and was released from Yodala Prison in Adelaide in October of 1976. And the car accident accounted for the succession of the murders. In April of 1979, searchers at Truro found 2 more skeletons, the remains of Vicky and Connie. They were found close together and a kilometer from where Veronica Knight's body was found. Police surveillance of Miller spotted him in Inner Adelaide and asked him to accompany them to police headquarters to answer a few questions. Miller was questioned for a while and made no admissions. The interview was completed, and the police decided to take Miller to the charge room. Miller conceded. He decided to show the police where the bodies are. Police procedure made things difficult, but in the end, they took Miller out to Truro along with forensic and pathology that evening, just to make sure Miller didn't have time to change his mind. The media, of course, found out, and 2 reporters were waiting at the scene when the police and Miller arrived. Miller first directed the police to the positions where the first 4 bodies had been found. The further into the bush, Miller stopped at a large shrub and told police they may find another one there. Curled up under the tree was another skeleton, that of Julie. The party then drove to Port Gawler Beach. Eventually, after extensive searching, police discovered the body of Deborah Lamb. Her body had been buried in a hole, which was covered with wood. The forensic team concluded that this victim suffered the most brutal attack. Her ankles and wrists were bound with cord. Her pantyhose were wrapped around her neck and mouth. Sand and shell grit found in her lungs suggested she was buried alive. The final victim, according to Miller, was buried at Gilman, an isolated area on the outskirts of Adelaide. Police were unable to locate any remains there for quite some time. The police did, in the end, find the skeletal corpse of Tiani. The police had located every girl on their missing persons list. Miller was charged with 4 counts of murder. Then the other 3 were added after further examination. On March 12th, 1980, after a 6-week trial, Miller was found guilty of 6 counts of murder. He was acquitted of the murder of Veronica Knight. He was jailed for life. Miller, however, claims he is innocent of murder, and he said that his love for Chris had made him keep quiet about the killings. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to my podcast. I will be here for you on Thursdays, so I'm super excited. And yeah, I'm going to miss you guys and see you on Thursday. Bye.